Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is the greatest time of the day. From the center of the universe, New York City, it's the main event you've been waiting for. It's time to go in the cage with Cyclone.
It is August 14th, 2017, and this is episode 10. Double digits now. I really don't know how many more of these I got left in me before I snap like a dry twig, but we're going to do as much as we can before that time happens. Hopefully, won't be anytime soon, though. Lots to talk about. As a matter of fact, so much to talk about, I'm going to actually try to skip talking about Conor and Floyd for a week. I don't know if I'm going to get it through a show without doing that either. But we're going to give that one a shot too. Quick reminder, Facebook, In the Cage with Cyclone. Click like. Got plenty of raffles. As a matter of fact, later on today, we're going to be doing another question raffle. Twitter, it's CYCIE19. Boneheadpics.com. Read all my articles. And the site has been updated. Cyclone Comedy. Finally, my guys have done their work that they were paid for, and the site is now completely fixed. So, check it out. And we're going to kick this whole big shing-ding off in the count of 1, 2, 3.
This is Frank Edgar. This is the Barbarian Tim Boach.
I'm World Series of Fighting undefeated lightweight champion Justin Gaethje.
MMA legend, UFC Hall of Famer, Iceman, Chuck Liddell. And if you got the guts, step in the cage with Cyclone.
Okay, so big story coming out, and it's a good story for once with all the not goodness in the world. Finally, a good story. Matt Hughes, everyone's favorite welterweight, Matt Hughes, has come out of the coma. I mean, he wasn't out and about running around, but he was kind of out with the family and some friends recently. So, thank goodness, Matt Hughes, still alive, still kicking. Just, he should now actually go get himself a T-shirt that says, "I was hit by a train and survived," or something like that. I mean, eventually you're going to have to laugh about things happen to yourself in life. Not anytime soon, though, but that might be an idea for him. And I'm a liar. I just told you guys I'm not talking anything about Conor Floyd, and I think I have to, this whole Paulie Malignaggi stuff and how butthurt he is. Look, here's the deal. He's a Brooklyn boy, and we all stick together. But the fact of the matter is plain and simple. He overstated him getting pushed. And everybody's up in an uproar. Oh, Dana White only released a couple of seconds of clips. Well, Dana's not going to release 12 rounds onto social media so this way Floyd's camp can take a look-see. I mean, that's just not happening. Okay? But he released what Paulie claimed happened as the opposite happened. So, Paulie, I like you, but you fibbed. You fibbed a teeny bit. You fibbed. Speaking of Dana White, the Contender Series, Episode 6, is tomorrow. Now, I suggest all of you watch it because for the first time in the Dana White Contender Series, there's going to be a women's bout. These two women in the strawweight division were both fighting in King of the Cage out in California. Tiffany Masters, who's 2-0, and Jamie Colleen, who's 3-1. Finally, so with the female flyweights for the Season of Tough, now possibly a new strawweight will come in to the company. But who knows? No one knows unless you watch tomorrow and see which two come up with the contracts. Now look, I had kind of like a messed up week last week. I now wear spectacles, glasses. But you know who had a worse week? Michael Bisping. Poor Bisping. And you have to think maybe it's like Yoel Romero, like stalking him, doing all this crap. But Bisping was in Hawaii with his family. And for those of you who don't like the Count, you kind of got to feel bad for him. This guy had a trip to hell in arguably one of the nicest places on this planet, Hawaii. While he was with his family sightseeing at one of the waterfalls, someone smashed in the rental car windows and took a bunch of stuff out of the car. And for some reason, him and the family decide not to send the rental car back, but to keep that rental car. And they go somewhere and they have to valet the car. They go in the building. They come out. The rest of the windows are smashed in, and what was left in the car was then stolen. How in the world do you valet a car? How does a car get smashed in that's already smashed in again in a valet, no less? I don't know. I kind of think maybe it might have been like Yoel Romero smashing the windows in. And if all that wasn't enough, he goes paddleboarding with his family and a couple of friends. And they got a little bit too close to one of the waterfalls. And the tide started pulling them out. The family got to safety. But these other people that were paddleboarding also grabbed a hold of Bisping's paddleboard and were pushing him further to the falls. So he actually came close to eating a big one, you know. And eventually, you know, at the nick of time, he was saved too. But, man, what a trip. Here's the thing. Don't go. See, that would never happen to me because I don't go anywhere. I stay within my four walls. I watch the paint dry. That's a vacation to me. Also means I'm also a hermit, though, but that's a whole other story. The rich continue to get richer. The alpha, I'm not going to call them the fails, but the alpha males just signed bantamweight Sarah McMahon, which means it's conceivable between Cynthia Calvillo and Sarah McMahon, they can hold both female championships. Who knows? But I got a special treat for all of you. Recently, I was able to talk to a very good friend of mine. And now I want all of you to hear that conversation. Hey, so joining us inside the cage right now for the very, very first time, all the way from Jacksonville, Florida, Isaiah Duval Scott. Isaiah, you on the line?
Yes, sir. How you doing today?
Yes, technology's finally working. Holy smokes. Oh, brother, you have no idea what it's like up here with this technology.
Yeah, I understand. It can get messy sometimes.
So, let me ask you a question. As someone who's not only a fighter, but a fan as well, are you more comfortable getting in and mixing it up as a welterweight or a middleweight?
I'm more comfortable as a welterweight, but I guess, over the years, things happen, life happens. So, I'm more comfortable now as a middleweight, but a few years ago I was more comfortable at welterweight, but I just didn't want to have to drain my body to make weight, because you know how weight cutting is this day in MMA. It's not as easy as people think. So, I'm more comfortable now, being that my last fight was at middleweight. I'm more comfortable with that now.
Now, being that the boards have basically all approved the new weight classes, is that something you're happy with?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's pretty interesting because, it actually gives more fighters, a chance to be at a comfortable weight, especially like fighters like Cyborg, fighters like Kevin Gastelum. But as we know, if anybody was watching the press conference from UFC 214, Dana White said he wasn't interested in the new weight cuts. He wanted to stick with it. But to me, I think it gives more fighters, a good chance of making fights, instead of just saying, either I give up because I can't make the weight cut, or I just stick to a weight that I'm uncomfortable with. So I think it's good for fighters, and not only good for fighters, I think it's good for the sport as well.
Now, when did you decide you wanted to start fighting?
It was in 2009, actually. Fighting-wise was 2009, but actually giving it all thought was back in 2007. I had a friend who was letting me know. Actually, I apologize. It was 2006. It was Anderson Silva's first fight in the UFC when he fought Chris Lieben. I had a friend. He used to tell me about it. He said, "Look, we're going to sit down. We're going to watch the fight." But I refused. I was like, I don't want to look at that type of fight. I'm so in love with boxing. As we know, boxing had the black eye for years. But after I seen what Anderson Silva did in the cage, and I was like, wow, you actually can train and you can just, demolish a person like that, So after that, I just fell in love with the sport, man. I've been all in ever since.
Now, who was your favorite fighter growing up?
Anderson Silva was one. I watched GSP in his prime, Chuck Liddell, Rampage, Rashad. Most of those guys who are older, most of those guys who are, majority of them are out now, but I've seen them in their prime. And I remember when UFC, back then when it wasn't no dodging no fighters back then. It was just, well, if you was a champ, whoever next was next. You couldn't go around and talk trash to this fighter who wasn't deserving to be in the ring with you, or you couldn't, try to get an easier fight because you had a guy who can actually take the ring from you next. So, but all around, my two favorite fighters growing up was Spider and GSP.
Now, since you mentioned Mr. George St. Pierre, what do you think about him coming to the Garden to take on Bisping?
I think it's amazing that it'll be the second event there in Madison Square Garden. So why not bring back GSP? I just want to see him, in full commitment. I don't want to see him fight one time and then if he loses, it feels like, well, I don't have it anymore. Because it's not the same. Just like technology changes, fighters change. They're involved in different types of fighters. You got a lot of more young, hungry fighters now, and they're not giving you a chance to do anything now. They come in there and they can take your soul and out the gun. So, if anything, I just want to see him come back, and I just want him to be sure this is what he wants to do again because he's been gone for so long. So, honestly, I think this will be a good test for him, Michael Bisping, even though I'm not a Bisping fan. So, I think it's going to be amazing, and I'm actually trying to get up there for that fight as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, first of all, if you are able to come up here, I will show you the ins and outs of where everybody stays, since I'm just so cool like that.
Appreciate that.
So let me ask, what was the worst injury you've ever suffered?
I don't really call it an injury, but I had like a hairline fracture. Actually, was doing a training camp in 2010. I had a hairline fracture. I had actually just got trained at the YMCA in Clarksville, Tennessee. A couple friends. We were just shooting around basketball, wasting some time. We was waiting on another friend. And, you know, I had just happened to get a rebound. I came down. I just heard, I heard crunch, like a little crunch sound. So I thought it was the worst because I couldn't even put no type of pressure on it. So at the time, I was like, oh man, I know that's it. But as we went, we got the X-ray. They were just like, well, it was a hairline fracture. And I was like, well, that didn't sound like a hairline fracture, but I take the word for it. But other than that, that's I never really suffered any type of significant injury.
Now, it's a huge thing in football, and I'm surprised it's not as big yet in MMA. I've spoken to Todd Anderson about it. I've spoken to some fighters about it. Is CTE something that you would be concerned about?
Honestly, unless I've heard more fighters or doctors talk about it as being in our sport, I don't see what a concern would be, because it's not like boxing where you continuously take punches to the head and that's all you can really dish out is your hand. Unlike MMA, there's so many ways to end a fight, not just through knockout, submission, and then majority of the times, unlike certain people, you can actually go through a fight without even receiving any type of power punches or anything, because you got so many grapplers in the world or something like that. So unless I actually heard numerous conversations about it, via MMA, I don't really see a concern as it's football, because that's just all the way contact sport. The whole entire game, you got guys who all different type of weight sizes on the field, unlike a guy who's in your weight class, and you have to dish or you have to receive the punishment from that guy in your weight class. So you have two totally different sports, two totally different situations. So I haven't heard anything or anyone talk about it as far as combat sports. Well, with MMA there is, I think it would be more concerned with it in boxing than MMA.
Now, I know you have family up here in the New York area. So would you ever consider taking a fight in one of the indie companies up in this area?
Yeah. Actually, back in 2010, I can't recall the company name, but it used to be a company that put a lot of amateur fighters and stuff that was on, TV, and it was up in the upstate area, Buffalo area, like that. I mean, that'd be actually a dream, to be honest. But as of right now, only thing that I have to focus on is my fight in Kentucky. I have a fight coming up September the 16th for Hard Rock MMA. So, that's first up, and I have to get up there, take care of business, and then, once I get up there and take care of business, then we'll, look for other venues like that.
Now, training for that fight in September, look, it's no secret. It's not a shock. There's really no good way to come across saying it, but it's obvious and something you'd admit. You're not ATT, you're not AKA, one of these super ship type company, teams.
Yeah.
But would you consider now? Obviously, I know the answer would probably be yes, but would you consider or even contemplate maybe eventually winding up somewhere like that?
Yeah, that was interesting because I had a conversation with a friend of mine. We were talking about camps and different types of gyms, because you only hear about the really big gyms that, Jackson and Winklejohn, AT&T, AKA.
Right.
One of the gyms that I had fell in love with over the years was the Black Zillion down in Boca Raton, Florida. And not really sure what's going on with that, because you don't really hear too much about it. But had a few fighters who actually went there and then left. Fighters like Alistair Overeem, Michael Johnson was a part of there, Rashad Evans, Mike Van Arsdale was the coach there, wrestling coach. So, at that particular time, I was like, man, I was all about Black Zillion. But then, you heard, rumors of them closing. But if I had to pick any word, though, being that it was in my area, of course, I would pick American Top Team. They have some of the best grapplers in the world, and their work ethic is out of the roof, man. So, you just have to appreciate the talent and the coaches and the game plans that they put together down there. You just can't deny that type of talent that they have.
Now, do you think having a family helps or hurts a fighter's career?
I think it's all in the fighter. Most guys come from nothing, and so they may be used to how it is. Not being sidetracked. Not saying that family sidetracked you, but just being a part of it. I have a family, so it was kind of different. But when I started off, I didn't start off with family. I wasn't married at the time. I had kids, but as far as on my journey, I just had a few friends that was around when I started MMA. So at that particular time, it didn't bother me. You're gonna need somebody. I'm not saying want, but you're gonna need somebody, whether it's a friend, whether it's a family relative, because the fighting business, and then just the up and the down of the sport. It's not easy. Not easy for anyone. And if anybody said that the road to becoming, whether it was a champion or a top contender in the world, that it was easy, I'm pretty sure they were lying to you. So to me, I think it's all on the fighter, because you get some fighters who come for nothing, just like, for instance, Jose Aldo, he came from nothing. And, I'm pretty sure that now he appreciates, having a family, having a backbone like that. But then you get other fighters who, whether it was, part of the plan, whether they had fighters or comeback or any type of athlete in their family tree that actually, had that type of support. Other than that, it all depends on the fighter. Me, I'm comfortable either way, because at the end of the day, I'm in the cage and there's nobody else. So, I'm comfortable either way.
Now, is there one memory that stands out for you inside the cage?
Yeah, my first ever fight. I started off doing underground. At the time, I really couldn't, afford a gym, because to me, I thought, you go sign up for a gym, and then, prices would be, a little reasonable for most fighters, just depending on the gym you were in. So when I had met a guy, Robert Matan, a.k.a. Fox, in Clarksville, he used to be in the military, ex-amateur boxer, and I met him, and I explained to him what I was doing, because we were looking for people for, underground fighting. So he really got with me. He was like, man, if you really want to fight, and you really want to train, you really want to learn the ethics of fighting, I teach you. So honestly, at that particular time, I was like, hey, who wouldn't tell another person that, well, I know this or I know this, and you expect to take that person serious. So honestly, I took them serious. We started on Clarksville for an organization called Scientific Street Fighting, SSF, under Ron Daly. And I signed up. He booked me a fight. I did what I was supposed to do for a good month and a half, 2 months. I dieted right. Anything that God wanted me to do, I did it. And my body, just being able to go through that transform of your body and the mental aspect of it, I went into my first fight. Honestly, I was nervous. Never did this before. And looking at it on TV and then doing it is two totally different things. So went in there. He just, he got me real pumped. I was focused. Once I actually started walking into the octagon, I just had tunnel vision. And then I ended up getting a 45-second knockout. I had got the Randy Couture jacket, had got the Fight of the Night trophy, had got the plaque. And just that, the type of adrenaline that I had in my body at the time, it was unexplainable, to be able to see what you put on the line, blood, sweat, tears, and what you sacrifice to be able to transform it and then put it in the octagon and see the results. Man, that's just, there's no feeling like that, to be able to prepare for something the right way and go out and put results out there like that. And that's one of the memories that would always be with me, and including my ex-trainer, Robert. He helped me and he molded me into the fighter I am today. So I really appreciate that. You out there.
See, now, what you could have done, someone stole your thunder. You, at that very moment in time, in the cage, could have just screamed out, and nobody would have understood it at the time, but it could have been something in the future, maybe. You could have just screamed out, 50 G's, Dana, we done it, baby.
That's what most fighters do today, right? You know, either they scream out or they talk to Dana side cage. But to be honest, I had a conversation with a friend. Shout out to Hardcore MMA, Jeremy Diskins and Clay Fixture and all the guys there, Hardcore MMA. You know those guys as well. We talk daily, and we're all about MMA, and we was having a conversation one time. And I said, it's like guys, you got two different type of fighters. You got fighters who's all about the sport, who put their blood, sweat, and tears there, who don't take nothing for granted. Then you have the other fighter who just, all about the money. If I can get a fight to make this money, I'll make this money. And, you get a lot of guys who take away from the sport, take away from guys who built that from ground up, man. And that really touched me to see certain fighters and certain stories. And that lets you know not to take it for granted, because there's no giving in fighting. There's no giving. You see guys who get hurt and they never bounce back, or you get guys who leave the sport for years and years and years and try to come back and it's not the same. Like Mike Swick, I used to wonder what happened to him. He came back after 5 years and had a fight or two, and it didn't go to plan. Not sure if it was for money, not sure if it was just for the love of sport, but I feel like for you to take it serious and you have more love for the sport, man, the money issue is always gonna come. It's always gonna be there. There's always gonna be ways to make money, whether you're teaching someone or whether you're out there doing it yourself. The money situation is always gonna come.
Now, look, when I was playing college and semi-pro baseball, I was a superstitious freak. I mean, I dressed the same way. I never touched a baseline in my life. I still haven't touched a baseline. All right. Even playing softball.
Yeah.
Is there any superstitions that you have?
As preparing for a fight or something I do before a fight? To be honest, when I first started fighting, I had a girlfriend at the time, and the day before a fight, I wouldn't sleep in the bed with her. I just sit in the living room on the sofa, and I just have have all my thoughts going in my head, and I just want that time alone, because, like I said, at the end of the day, it's going to be you in there, and, everybody makes mistakes. I don't care who you are, but it's just who makes the most pivotal mistake in there. So my thing was, to have that moment the day before. I don't want to be around anyone. The day before a fight, I just want to be able to clear my conscience, clear my mind, and be able to go in there and get this fight over as quick as possible. That's my thing. And the one time that I did actually break that, I ended up getting submitted because the rules were different, from Tennessee here, because Tennessee was, when you first started off amateur or whatever, you didn't have any type of leg pads. You didn't have any of that. When I came to Florida the fall, when I moved back, because I was away from the sport, a year or two at a time, because life, I ended up moving, I ended up getting married, I ended up having a kid. So life hits you, you just can't get up and be like, all right, I'm going to just go ahead and train for a fight. It doesn't work like that. So the one time that I did actually change my superstition, man, it didn't play in my favor. Actually, I actually did well in the grappling aspect of the fight, because this guy had supposed to been like, an elite grappler. So I actually did well. But I was like, the whole time I was actually thinking like, man, maybe I should have slept on the sofa that night before. maybe I would have had a different result. But other than that, I think I had broke that mold. I don't feel superstitious about certain things. But one thing I do talk to my mom, before I have a fight, the week of a fight. I make sure, I have a good conversation with my mom, make sure my spirit is, positive and it's in a good place. So that's probably about all as far as superstition goes.
Is there one thing that you just hate giving up during a weight cut?
Oh man, actually, it's a couple things. A lot of people don't know I'm a big cereal fanatic, man. Like, I love cereal. Like, man, I can eat cereal all day, every day, man. And to be able to have to, give up cereal. I had a guy tell me, like, man, you guys can really eat anything you want. In training, just you have to know how to eat it, when to eat it. I'm like, nah, I don't want to do that. I don't want to mess it up. But cereal, man, is just one thing. I'm like, oh my God, I just being able to go down there, because me, I eat big bowls at a time, and I would say cereal and like waffles. I love waffles, and my wife makes this waffle with she'll put the egg and the cheese and put the sausage and make it like a waffle sandwich. Oh man! So my last training on campus this past March, and I was like, oh man, this is killing me, man, that I can't eat certain things. And then I work in a restaurant, so
no,
you smell that food all day. But I'm pretty much disciplined when it comes to that, because I know how hard it is to cut weight at first. I'm like, man, I'm not even gonna make this harder on myself. So once I have my mind made up, look, I'm gonna start training, and this is what I have to do. It really doesn't bother me. But, man, the fight didn't go through last time. So that next morning, she had made me the waffle sandwich or whatever. And I felt like I was in heaven at the time. And I was like, man, this is what I have to give up. So, man, besides that and cereal, man, anything else is pretty much easy to cast away with.
Now, when a fight like that falls out on you, last second, and I remember how not mentally cuckoo you were, but I remember what it was like.
Mm-hmm.
How honestly does it affect you?
What?
Like mentally, emotionally, to have a fight fall out on literally like the last second.
Yeah. It was. I just felt like. To me, I feel like regardless, this is for any promoter out there, whether you're a big-time promoter, small-time promoter, or even just getting started. I just feel like, you treat people how you want to be treated, regardless of any situation. And I've never seen, in my 30 years, I've never seen a promoter change the fight that you're going to have actually less than 24 hours before the fight. And then not only just change it, not even let you know that they changed the fighter. And that was my situation, because being that I had my work schedule and me trying to balance that, family life and training, I had a good 2 months to prepare, because we wasn't sure the fight, we were going to be able to find an opponent at the time. So when he fought my opponent, I was like, okay, I know what I got to prepare for, so I'm going to go ahead and get in my mode, mentally-wise, spiritually-wise, emotionally-wise, and physically. And I get in there, and, you're training and you're doing all this just to find out that a month before the fight even happened, the fighter you fought, had backed out of the fight. So the weigh-ins, I was prepared. Be honest, I was so hungry and I was so agitated that I really didn't pay attention to the fighter. And to me, I was like, okay, that's the guy, because he actually looked similar to the guy who we had video on. And so my trainer, my wife, they was sitting there, they was just like, well, I was wondering why they kept staring at him. I was like, why they keep looking at the guy? He's just another guy. He bleeds like me and he breathes the same way as I breathe. It's just a fight. So she was like, well, that's not the fighter. I said, baby, that's the fighter. I know for a fact it's him. I'm just ready to get the weigh-ins over so I can go eat. That's the only thing I was concentrated on, just to eat. And, we scored off, and it did look kind of different. So I was like, well, look, we're going to go to the video. We went to the video. She was like, that is not him. So when I looked at him after we left, I was like, wow, I said, that looks just like him. She said, but it's not him. This guy's a little bit bigger. And so, I called the promoter. I won't say his name, but I called Paul, the promoter, and I asked him. I said, well, this is not the guy I'm supposed to fight. And he was like, what do you mean? I said, this guy is different from the guy who I had been preparing for. The guy I prepared for, he'll go to the ground, but he wanted to stand and bang. So, of course we work ground, but, main thing was, okay, if you want to bang, I'll make sure I'm just covering all areas of that. And, he immediately, he got to apologize and was like, oh, man, I'm sorry. The fighter that you fought, he dropped out of the fight a month ago. His team said, they couldn't get him. He really wasn't doing good in training, this and that. And I told him, I felt like not only disrespected, but I felt like your value for fighters, you really didn't care because I told him that comes with the territory. Just like UFC, we see fighters get hurt all the time. We get fighters that, can't make the fight. And so I felt like if you would have called me a month in advance, that would have gave me an opportunity to go discuss with my team to say, hey, it's okay, we're still going to take the fight. Or, no, I'd rather go ahead, find another fighter, and we just catch the next event. But he didn't even, we had to go to him with the issue. And I think that's what made me more pissed off than anything is that I had to bring the situation to you. And you as a promoter, I don't know this guy, don't know nothing about him. And apparently he didn't know nothing about him. So that really made it kind of suspicious. Like, you don't even know the fighter who you're supposed to be putting in for a fight. So I've never seen this before. I've never seen that type of situation. So just friends, family, my team, even a few promoters, that I knew through other people was like, don't take that fight. He said that's just something totally different. You don't know if this guy's a dirty fighter. You don't know anything about him. And then for the promoter to say he didn't have any information on him, you don't want to do that because this is your life and your career you're talking about. So that really got under my skin. And it kind of bothered me because the last few times that, I prepared with training camps, it didn't go good. And you have situations that happen like that, it demotivates you. So, but this time I didn't let it affect me like it did last time. So, I'm ready to go now.
Well, I just want to remind everybody, we are, in fact, listening to Isaiah Duval-Scott. And you guys, remember, we're going to have a Facebook question raffle coming up later on in the show. But let me ask you this then. What, if any, has there ever been a cheap shot that you've taken?
No, never taken a cheap shot. I know most guys, you can get in the moment where you get poked in the eye or you get a, kick to the groin area. But no, that's something I can happily say I never had to deal with.
So how do you wind up dealing with possible sponsors?
Being that coming out of amateur because, I should have had been pro at the time. But like I said, life happened, when I got married. My wife, she got sick the night of our wedding, and she was sick for basically a year. So having to battle through that and having to do it kind of put everything on pause. And so when I actually got, was like, okay, I can go ahead and train now, and I don't have to worry about any type of distractions. Sponsors, it's not hard and it's not easy though. You just have to have the right team. And you got to have the right type of mentality to deal with certain sponsors, So I haven't really any luck yet. I have two potential sponsors. They just waiting on results for this fight, and I just train, man. Do what I can do as far as training and everything, and I just leave the rest to God, and hopefully people see my talent and see what I dedicate to the sport, and say, hey, maybe we want to invest into this guy. And so I just let the rest take care of itself.
Well, do you have any deadline goals like saying, I want to be in this company by this date, I want to be here at this date, and so on?
Yeah and no, because I feel like sometimes when not even is just fighting, I just feel like sometimes when you put labels on yourself or a relationship with whether it could be with a girl or whether it could be just with a particular situation, I feel like sometimes you overdo it or sometimes you underdo it. So sometimes I just go with the flow, man, and I feel like going with the flow sometimes is better than saying, look, okay, not saying that you can't put a goal out there, oxygen. You know, don't get me wrong, because a lot of people expect to do things by a certain time, or, you know, they don't expect for this to happen because they know they're doing this. So, me, myself personally, you know, if everything go right, barring any injury, anything, if I had to put a goal to myself, I say within the next year and a half, you know, I'm hopeful to be knocking on that UFC, though, you know. So, barring any injury, I'm just keep training, just keep taking as much advice as I can, keep learning as much as I can, because you can learn so much from the sport. And not even just to be able to say go fight, even if I can make enough money to be able to help another gym, or to be able to start something different for, you know, programs that you know, kids don't have to necessarily fight MMA. You just want to learn it, want to be in that type of training regimen, you know, to keep a lot of kids and stuff, whether it's off the street, because, you know, the world's different now, 2017, and a lot of things are different, man, and it's just so much going on. So just hopefully a year and a half, I can be able to just have enough money to be able to help the next generation out, man. That's my goal right there in the next year and a half, is to be able to make enough money to be able to help the next generation and be able to help a lot of kids out here who are maybe curious about the sport, or, you know, just want to get in there just to see what it's about.
Cool. And that, you know what, that is a good way to end this on a good, solid, positive note. So, I want to thank you for your time, Isaiah.
Yes, sir. No problem.
And we shall be back with you soon, very, very soon.
Yes, sir. And I appreciate you, Jay. I understand, you know, happened yesterday. We had to get it all together. But I just want to thank you, your team. And once again, I want to give everybody a shout out there to Hardcore MMA family. You can follow me at The Man from Duval on Twitter, or you can follow me Isaiah Duval Scott on Facebook. And if you just send a friend request to us, the Hardcore MMA family, and, you know, we get back to you guys. And I appreciate it. Everybody have a blessed day.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir.
All right. Bye. Now, how cool was that? That was absolutely awesome. And I want to, once again, give a shout out to Isaiah Duval Scott, and also the Hardcore MMA family on Facebook. I want to give them a shout. That was absolutely so much fun. I really, really enjoyed it. And we are going to get back to the show right after this.
Hi, I'm Jim Miller.
This is Dan Merigliotta.
I'm Derek Brunson.
I'm Nick the Carney Lentz, and you're locked into the cage with Cyclone.
Alrighty, we have such a big day here on BWRN. Obviously, I'm kicking the day off, as I always do, because kings go first. But we have Broadway Comedy Club Radio later on today. And then closing out the day is the Heckle and Jekyll of sports, the sports book box office podcast. Got to get this nice and right. Sports book box office podcast with Kevin Goatee and Jeffrey Paul. Tune into them. They are, like I said, the Heckle and Jekyll of sports. Now, let's go back in time if we can for a second. On this date in history. Happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary, happy anniversary. So, on this date, in 1903, we're going that far back. James J. Jeffries KO'd James J. Corbett. In boxing, was everybody's name James J? Anyways, he KO'd him in the 10th round to win the heavyweight championship. And then let's speed it up a little bit to 2011. That's pretty recent. UFC Live 5. Chris Light, lights out, beat Dan Hardy. And then he retired. And shortly after that, Dan Hardy had to retire. And also on that card, Benson Smooth but that was a lousy Sade impersonation. But Smooth Benson Henderson beat Jim Miller. And if I remember correctly, he beat him bad too. All that happened on this date, August 14th. Let's now go to... Let's do a raffle, shall we? I feel like being in a giving mood. So let's go into the bag. And we have winner number 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Susan Walker. You win. All right, here's your question. What should DC do next since he is only fighting at light heavyweight because his friend Cain Vasquez is heavyweight, but since Cain is consistently hurt and not fighting, should DC go up or stay at light heavyweight? And if so, who should be next? Well, here's what I think DC needs to do. DC honestly should take the rest of the year and not even train. He needs to first and foremost get his head straight. Okay, that belt obviously meant the world to him. The aura, the presentation of it all. It was his world being a champion. Now that he's not, he has to get over the fact that there is a man that beat him not just once, beat him twice. I don't know if it pays to ever have a third fight with John. I mean, I can't say I wouldn't buy it. I can't say I would buy it. Because let's face it, I buy every fight. But here's the thing. I think what he needs to do is to call it. Just call it. He has a great cush job at Fox. He enjoys it at Fox. Let him be a brand ambassador now. I think it's time. It's better to retire too soon than too late. You don't want to be carried out. Now, if he goes up to heavyweight, geez, there's some killers in there that would smack him around. So I think Daniel should, and nobody wants to retire on a losing note, but I think that's the way his story is written. So, Susan Walker, I will be in touch with you later this week, and we shall discuss your prize. And by the way, it's a really nice one coming your way. Later this week, well, obviously, like I said earlier, tomorrow night is the Dana White Contender Series. You got to check that out. And Friday is Double Gun Action, LFA 19, and later on that night is One Championship 59. Now, what I want all of you guys to do is put your ears right to either your phone, your computer, wherever you're listening, and check this out. This Wednesday, you can catch me returning to the Cyclone Variety Show. I have 3 killer guests. Comedian Pauline Murphy stops by. An incredible band, Raina B. and The Hive, are going to be rocking the stage. And Connecticut radio personality Peter Pinho, who I've tried to get forever, is coming into the studio. So check that out on Facebook as well. The Cyclone Variety Show. Now, obviously, check out In the Cage with Cyclone on Facebook. Twitter, it's CYCIE19. Click follow. Boneheadpicks.com. You can read everything I write. And trust me, I write a lot. And You want to buy something with my name on it? You want to buy something with my face on it? Check out the new and improved CycloneComedy.com. So, I just want to say, I will be back on August 28th. You know what that is, folks. 2 days after You Know Who mixes it up with You Know Who. I wonder what we'll be talking about on Monday the 28th. But until then, remember this. Just because you're not an athlete doesn't mean you cannot be an athletic supporter. Bye-bye. Bye.